So everyone says that the New Balance 440 is one of the best skate shoes out there, but I don't really trust best without any numbers. So today we're gonna cut it open and put all of its materials to the test to see if it really holds up and dissect the 3 reasons that everyone loves this shoe. But if you didn't know, this is the second iteration of the 440 model, and it follows the classic New Balance naming style of like V1, V2, V3, etc. So it's the 440 V2. But this shoe is absolutely loved by both pros and normal skaters alike. It's had quite a few pro colorways come out for it. Like, I think I got Justin Henry confused. I thought he had a 480 one. He actually had the 440 one. So they've given a lot of colorways of this shoe to pros that don't have their own pro shoe yet. This is by far the New Balance skate shoe that I see the most in the wild. I think every other person is wearing these shoes because it fits into the rare like slim cupsole genre of shoe where it takes all the attributes of like a vulcanized shoe with lots of board feel and breaking time and puts it into a more like durable like cupsole style shoe lens. And it's tough to get that certain combination quite right. So what do people like about this shoe? So they like it for its comfort, its durability, and I think that people are really gonna like this for its non-skating use. Now, I did break my ankle and I will be down for a while, but I did skate these 3 times before I had to cut them, so I do have my own opinions and I might actually disagree with a lot of the masses. But on that broken ankle note, if you want to fully skate a shoe and then have me cut it in half, I will choose someone out of the skate testing pool. Maybe just add a note to the end because there's a section you can put comments and just put like, choose me for skating. And if you're already on there, maybe go sign up again and leave that note. The only caveat is you have to actually skate the shoe and get clips, because if I choose someone and it doesn't work out, or like you don't end up sending me back the shoe and then we're out, you're all cut off. So don't be lame, go check it out, link in bio. So what is this shoe? The brand is New Balance Numeric, the skating division of New Balance. The style is the 440 V2. There's also a high top version of this shoe, but I prefer low tops mostly, so I want the low top. It weighs this much. It's $85, which is pretty cheap for a cupsole. It's made in Indonesia, and the positioning from the brand's website says a cupsole skate shoe designed for the everyday skater with input from the NB Numeric skate team. I'll link everything below if you ever want to try anything or check anything out. So let's start with the durability part of these tests, and we'll start with the upper. So the material, most of the green, like the toe panel and the eyelets and the heel, are suede, and then in the middle you have this like Cordura feeling fabric, and then you also have like this leather looking N and heel patch on the back. The N was actually a big change of the redesign from the V1 to the V2. The old N was the classic old shoe style, like old dad style N, like this one. And this new one, I think it looks a lot better and fits better with the lines of this specific shoe. I think it looks it's kind of like their lifestyle runner shoes, like one of the ones we just cut in the Nordstrom Rack video. But the Shreds Shop guys actually have a pretty good video going over all the changes from the V1 to V2, so I'll link that below to like see the full spiel if you only did the V1 and now this is the V2. But New Balance has a pretty high batting average for pretty durable suedes. Every shoe that we've tested by them, it performed quite well on the abrasion test and tests that I've been running. But the first test to see if the leather is real or fake is the burn test. So real leather and suede will not burn and light on fire, and synthetics will melt and burn and kind of turn to goop. So all of the green suede is real, but the N and the heel tab are actually fake, which is honestly fine, especially in a shoe under $90. It's not a structural part of the shoe either, so I'll give it a pass on this one. But for the thickness of the suede, and this will tell you how long your shoes will probably last, the thicker the better for us here. It comes in about 1.6 millimeters, which is pretty good to see. Most suedes are 1.5 and under. It does have tons of panels, and I'm always curious because in like 99% of shoes that we cut, work boots, sneakers, it literally doesn't matter if there's a double panel, it's usually fake. So in essence, a fake double panel will just create an extra fail point because there's nothing backing it up. So cutting into toe, you can see that it is truly double layered. Both layers go all the way down, and you can see that there's like a little toe stiffener thing. I actually think it's heat activated like glue is on there as well to help it from like, if you do end up popping these stitches, it'll help it stop do that. The same kind of thing was in the 933, and that's what they told me when we did like that Jeff Mikett and Andrew Reynolds interview. But what I do like, I think it adds just a little structure into the toe, which is good so it's not super floppy. New Balance is probably about the only people doing actual double layers. I think in like every other shoe it's been fake, and New Balance is 100% on all of the layers being actually double layered.
This video is sponsored by NAFs. Designed by knife nerds for knife nerds, is a fixed blade that isn't just another camp knife. It's built like they actually asked humans what they wanted in a knife. Cause like, look at this, nice thick blade. I like that on a camp knife because you're not worried about bending it. Like if you have to split some wood or you get really aggressive with it, you're not gonna bend it. And having a nice little camp knife is essential because you can field dress a deer, prep some dinner, open up Amazon boxes, whatever you need from camping to everyday life. It's nice having a little fixed blade like this. It also has a little clip point to it, a full 10 construction. That means the blade metal runs all the way through the handle, so you don't have to worry about breaking it or snapping it. And the cool thing about NAF is the scales. They're swappable. Look at this one. I just swapped this one. It's a literal moon scale. And they support everything they do. They send with like big instructions on how to actually replace the different scales, how to maintain your knife, the warranty information, tips and tricks for maintenance. And they support everything with their own little set of tools, like this little Torx driver, little screwdriver heads, Kydex hand, this nice little Kydex sheath, so you can actually wear it on your belt every day. And And one thing I love is look how simple it is. You've got your 2 scales, you got your blade, and then just 2 sets of little Chicago screws. That's it. Because a lot of times there's durability in simplicity, and this is about as simple as it gets. So no matter what you do to this knife, you can always repair it, replace it, resharpen it, and they're Utah local brands, so gotta support the local bros. So go check out NAFS using the links below, and thanks again to NAFS for sponsoring this video. They've been a huge support of the channel and really started educating me on knives because they make high quality stuff.
Another interesting thing is the toe stitching. Like you can see it has the 2 stitches right there, which is good, but it also has this 3rd stitch that goes along like the middle of this panel, which I think is cool because if you do pop these stitches, because it will inevitably happen when you're skating, you're gonna pop these stitches and it starts to delaminate and you at least have one more layer of defense. So you're not just out there like flapping totally in the wind, you have one more stitch to go through. Unless of course you pop that stitch, which will eventually happen, but at least there's some sort of second defense there, which I do like. Unfortunately, the back heel tab is not actually double layered, which I think it's way more important to have the front of your shoe double layered because you're doing ollies and kick flips there, unless you're doing a lot of heel flips or you're kneeing Williams. It's less of an offense on the heel than it is on the toe. So it's good to see double layers, but the real test to test the actual durability of the suede is the Martindale Abrasion Test, which is where I have mob grip on the bottom, then we cut a sample of the suede and put it on the top, and it comes down, it rubs it in circles, it just like abrades it off, it simulates ollies and kick flips. It's probably the best test to simulate all of that wear for your actual durability of the material. So we cut the samples, I set it for 500 strokes, and we check it each 500 to see how many millimeters are wearing away. But weirdly enough, this only lasted 655 strokes, which is the lowest of all of the New Balances we have tried this on. And it's pretty low overall. It's probably one of the lowest skate shoes we've seen. But you'll at least have 2 layers of this suede. I mean, I'd say that averages about 1,300 strokes, which would be in the normal range, a little low still, but that heel might not last as long. So if you are in fact needing Williams, you might need a little shoe goo on the heel a little faster. But I will say this is probably the softest New Balance I've skated. It's probably the softest suede out of all of them. I think most of the models I've skated and reviewed, which are the 1010, the 933, the 480, and the 306, have all been pretty stiff, which I really like. And this one definitely feels softer than those right off the bat. And the low abrasion test score kind of shows that the faster the break-in, the more potential for quick wear. But the leather is not everything because you can really repair the upper a lot, but once the outsole starts getting holes in it, that's when the shoe is shot. So let's take a look at the outsole. The website says it has an endurance outsole. You can see this crazy, it goes from hexagon to like herringbone to sideways herringbone, which I'm not 100% sure what endurance outsole means, but it does look like it might actually have 2 separate rubber compounds. You can see like the black here and then the gray bottom, and in the other models they're 2 different colors as well. So if we put the durometer to test the hardness of the rubber, and then both of them come in about the high 60s, low 70s. So it's a little bit harder than most of the skate shoes we see, which are in like the low 60s to mid 60s. I don't think it's 2 separate compounds because they're so close, but if it is, then they feel really similar in density and feel, at least to me from the bird's eye view. So what does all that actually mean? The harder the rubber, the more durable it will be, but it won't grip quite as much, especially right off the bat, like right out of the box. But really, it's so close, I don't think it's gonna be any less or more grippy than any other skate shoe. But what really matters is how thick the rubber is on the bottom, and that really affects the durability, how fast it wears, and how much board feel you have. So is it actually durable? I'm gonna say yes. Even though the abrasion test didn't go super well, it at least has multiple layers where it counts, and the outsole seems pretty solid, looks like a normal outsole. I'll reserve my final judgments for everything after it's cut in half. What's really interesting is my friend Zach, who owns Directive Board Shop, says his 440 uppers usually outlast his outsole, which is very unique and very rare for pretty much any cupsole shoe. But durability means nothing if the shoes are so uncomfortable you can't wear them, and I think my opinion might not actually match up to everyone else's on this, but let's see what's going on. So the first thing I want to talk about is the shape. So this is like a perfect blend of both being pointy enough and wide enough. This is one of the few skate shoes that's actually offered in a wide size, which I think is just a double E. I think this is the main reason that people love this shoe, is like you just slide it on and it just like fits you perfectly. Like it's like a little hug. Like you can see the shape difference between all of them. The 1010's pretty similar. It's a little wider. You can see the difference between the 480s. Here's the 306s that are a little more rounded, and I really like these shoes. It's just that good combination of it's being pointy enough that the flick is still really good, and it's wide enough that your toes aren't just being suffocated. Like a lot of Nikes are really pointy. Like I always go back to the Janoski because they're super pointy. But how does it actually handle the impacts of skating? So on the insole, you take it out. It's just like an Ortholite open cell foam insole. Ortholite's pretty much the standard for these kind of foams, so at least it is like name brand Ortholite. It's 5 millimeters thick, and it feels really squishy. Like the last few New Balance insoles that I've skated have been a little more specialized than just like this flat cut sheet of Ortholite. So like if you look at the 933, it's like much denser foam. It's like, I think they said it was poured and has less bubbles in it. This one kind of reminds me of how Vans Pop Cush feels, which personally, I don't love the way that it feels. It's almost too soft and not responsive enough for me, but I like a much denser insole for sure. But let's run the test to see how the numbers line up. And if we run the ball drop test, you can see that it bounces up 17 inches, which is pretty good responsiveness. It's the top 25 of all tests run. Then if we flip it over and do the bar drop test to see how it cushions, it bounces up 4 inches, which is pretty low. But I think for skate shoes, the more impact that goes up from this test goes straight into your knees, so you want the bar drop test to be pretty low. Under the insole, you can see it's got this little foam lasting layer, so that'll definitely add to the squishy feel of this shoe. I'm curious what's actually under here. In that Adidas Superstar, it was built pretty much the same way. It had this foam lasting material, and it was just an egg crate midsole, which was pretty disappointing, especially for how expensive that one is. So I hope it's foam or something, and not just an egg crate midsole. This was unscripted, unplanned, but I do want to show you the flexibility difference between this shoe to show you how soft it is with the upper and outsole. It's pretty easy. It bends, you know, this is no effort at all. Compare it to even like the 306, which is a Volk. Pretty similar to a Volk, which has almost no structure. Then if we go up to the 480, oh, that is actually stiff. That is much stiffer. That is actually effort. Then if we go to the 933, oh, yeah, can barely even bend that one. And then the 1010, this one's actually pretty flexible, surprisingly, but it's got all those flex points. So it's definitely sitting in more of the Volk range of flexibility. So that's everything we can see from the outside. So let's cut this thing in half. We'll go over the non-skating use of the shoe and see how everything actually looks. Let's chop this thing.
Well, let's check out the Cordovan. This is super limited launch because there's only 50 available. Because they're still limited, you gotta be on the limited edition email list that's linked below, because that's what's gonna give you early access. It's gonna give you all your sizing guides. It's gonna give you everything you need to know, plus early access. So before the rest of the world even gets a shot at these, the email list gets first dibs.
All right, so we got it cut in half. You can see, you know, destroyed this thing to run in all of the tests. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, do all that extra stuff, because that's the best way to support us. We're buying at least a minimum of 3 different shoes a week, and we've been doing so many. We've been doing like 10 to 15 shoes every week, which is expensive. So that's the best way you can support us, so we can keep chopping these things in half and showing you what you're spending your actual hard-earned money on. So let's see what's inside. So this is exactly what I wanted to see out of the shoe, so let's go over it. So if you can see on the midsole, it has this foam wedge underneath. Thank goodness. This might be the cheapest shoe on the market with an actual foam midsole. If we take the durometer to see the hardness of this, it comes in about 35 or 40, which is pretty dense for foam. Like usually you see 30s and under for this kind of midsole foam. So that's why the ball drop went so high, so it's gonna have pretty decent response. So it's just like the A6 Legarezza and the A6 Gel Vica, which were super comfortable. Those are probably 2 of the more comfortable shoes I've skated, and this makes sense because this was also very comfortable to walk around on. Then if you look at the outsole, it's pretty decently thick. It comes in around about 5.5 millimeters, which is good. So it's gonna be pretty durable, and you won't lose too much board feel on foot. It rides that line of board feel and durability pretty well. So with all of this, how does it feel to skate and to not skate in this shoe? So this is probably one of the comfiest cupsole shoes straight out of the box that I have worn. Super good feeling, cradles the foot. What makes it feel really good to me is that you get this little, the heel is actually lower right here, so your heel sits down in this foam. It just like creates this perfect cradle of your arch, which is why it's really comfortable. So in a lot of skate shoes, I skate in them and then I take them off when I'm done, because after my feet really hurt. But not this one. Like I skated in this one. Let's see, where was I? I was up in Providence Park. I skated in them and then I skated to Direct Board Shop actually, which is probably like 3 miles, mostly uphill. And I was totally fine. Like usually when I'm done with the session and I'm like, I'm done skating, I don't want to put my feet on a board anymore. And it felt really good. It was like, this is one of those shoes that you can skate and wear all day. I did walk around in this shoe one day when I took my trip to Copenhagen recently, and it was one of those 25,000 step days, and my feet felt good all day. But one thing about the shoe that I don't like is skating in the shoe. It was a little harder for me because I think of the Ortholite foam, like I was telling you, because you're not going to get the same response right here. It a little bit felt like I was ollieing in sand, like when you go to push, you like push down because of this foam right here. You don't get the same response here as you do here because this just skives down to nothing, so you actually get board feel. So right here, I felt like when I was ollieing, it would just compress the foam and not like actually go up up with my ollie, you'd just be like, all my energy would be going down. This feels like one of those cases where I know I'm in the minority because literally everybody that skates the shoe loves it, but that's just my honest opinion. And to be fair, because of my ankle break, I did not get to skate it a ton, so once it was more broken in, it could change, but usually these Ortholite ones don't compress a ton over time because they're pretty well structured. That's just my complete honest opinion, like a little bit of skating in quicksand. So for the full analysis of the shoe, it's built really well, especially for the price. Like this is only $85. The leather was a little questionable, but it's backed up by double layers and like redundant stitching, so I won't blast it like I did that Adidas Superstar leather that was just terrible and only lasted like 300. I just feel like this is a pretty solid workhorse shoe. It's like kind of like more of your price point capsule. There's no frills, there's no like crazy technology, you don't get like the name brand like Absorb midsole, you don't get all of the other things, but you do get a solid shoe. And it's relatively cheap, like especially in today's tariff-filled inflation landscape. I think its closest competitors would probably be the Converse Fast Break Pro, but that had an A-Crate midsole, and the Asics Legorezza, which is a little more expensive, built pretty similar to this on the inside. It's kind of in that like in the dependable slim capsule zone. So I think if you just want a super high value walking around sneaker, this is a solid pickup. Like New Balance, specifically New Balance Numeric, might make the highest value sneakers. Like I just told my brother-in-law, he's like a country boy from Nebraska. He only wears boots now, like cowboy boots. He's really dipping into the Western style. I was sitting here looking at these shoes on my couch and he had come over. Oh, so are these very good? And I just went off this big spiel. I was like, yes. I was like, New Balance Numeric makes like the best sneakers. Like if you need a new pair of sneakers to wear, buy a New Balance Numeric pair because it's the best value you're gonna get for your money. But enough glazing of New Balance. They obviously make pretty solid shoes. The leather is just a little bit sketchy on this one, and I didn't love the feel of this insole. So let me know what your experiences have been in this shoe. Do all the tests and numbers kind of add up to your experience, or do you have something different? I don't know. Comment, because that's a really good way for like the community to figure everything out. I have some SXLs finally, which everybody always comments, and I have some really cool slip-on content coming up. So yeah, let me know. I'm sitting on the couch with my ankle broken for the next 3 months, so let me know what you want to see. Yeah, that's it. So thank you. I've upgraded from crutches. You're no longer in the shot. I'm just gonna see.